What up, it's GWG again. Guys, I'm so happy to make this video today. First of all, I've done something that I wanted to do since I started my channel. And also, this video I went ahead yesterday, I bought this 2001 Toyota Camry. The engine doesn't run. Sounded to me like a bad engine just when I was checking it out in the street before I towed it here, but that was the reason here. A broken timing belt. Got the timing kit, the water pump, the idler pulley, the tensioner, and the spring for the tensioner. So I went ahead and changed it, guys, and here you go. It has an exhaust leak. So I will cover it on another video. So we start by disconnecting the battery. And on this 2.2 Toyota 4 cylinders, I want to go ahead first, take that torque mount off. We need to get this bracket off, this bracket right here. So it's held on by two 14s. One is right here and the other one is down there. It will be probably easier to get it from the wheel well here. When we take the wheel, let me just get the top one off. We need to get this cover off. Get this cover off first to get the bracket out. All the bolts that are holding the top timing cover off, they're all 10 millimeters. So now we can get that bracket off. This is the tensioner here for the alternator belt. I'm gonna spray it with some penetrating oil. Then you loosen the side bolt, 12 millimeter. Okay, just get it loose, and then with an extension and the 12, just loosen that bolt. You'll see the alternator going down and the belt is losing pressure. Here you go. We want to get the power steering belt off, which is down there. You get it loosened. If you can see where the light is, it's a 12 millimeter right here at the top of the power steering pump. We want to get that loose, just loose. That was tight. And get the lower 12 millimeter bolts for the power steering pump. Just loosen it too, right there. We have to get to the crankshaft dampener pulley bolt. We gotta loosen it, take it off. Now you can wiggle while you're pulling, and here you go, comes right off. So now we go ahead, we want to get this lower timing cover off. They're held down by 10 millimeters. Okay, now for the timing. Since my timing belt was cut, so I'm gonna have to set the cam and set the crank. But if yours was still on and you're just doing it for preventive maintenance, so you just go ahead on the crank. Here, this key right here, it should be perpendicular to this right here, this notch right here. Hard to see, but it's right there. So to do that, I'm gonna have to put the bolt back so I can spin the crankshaft. So you can see now the sprocket starts to spin. So now this is set. You can see here the key here is perpendicular to this mark on the engine block right there. Now we are at TDC on the crankshaft. Okay, now to the crankshaft pulley. You can see that I put the wire out so you can guys see it. It's a notch, not on the pulley, it's behind the pulley that you should line up. Do you see the hole on the pulley itself? The small hole right there on the pulley. You should spin the pulley a little bit till you line up the small hole with the white mark behind the pulley. So I want to go ahead, spin it a little bit and then check. You just want to line up exactly the hole with the notch behind it. So okay, so we got the timing set. Now we want to remove everything that will be replaced. We'll start with the tensioner. 14 millimeter, loosen that up. It's loose. Take the bolt out completely. Okay, now you want to get the spring too, and then get that tensioner off. Just pull on it like that. Here you go. And then we want to go ahead and get the idler pulley down there here. If you guys can see it, it's also a 14 millimeter. Loosen that up and take it out completely. Here, that's your idler pulley. Before you loosen the water pump bolts, so you make a mess, we want to get a drain pan, put it underneath the car, and there's a plastic screw here to drain the radiator. So open that up. So before we go ahead take the water pump out, make sure you put a drain pan underneath the engine to capture any freeze that might spill. even though we drained the radiator, but you'll get just a little spill. And then you want to loosen all 10mm bolts that holds the water pump. Okay, so I got all 6 10mm off. We still got just one bolt, which is a 12mm here. You gotta take that off. This is holds a bracket that holds the tensioner for the alternator belt, and then you wanna just slide this up just away from the water pump. And now there is no more bolts that holds the water pump, so I'll go ahead, I'll get a small screwdriver or a small pry bar and just pry on the water pump. Here you go, and you can see the fluid dripping down there. And here you go, guys. We gotta make sure here that the mating surface on the engine block is clean. So I'm gonna get a sandpaper and just sand it down till it's very, very smooth. Do a good job cleaning here, because you don't want to put the water pump and then it's leaking. So I got the mating surface clean here. I'll get a dry rag, a clean rag. Spray it with some brake clean. And wipe down the mating surface to get any dirt off. Okay, I already put the gasket on the water pump here. So you want to go ahead, put your water pump carefully, don't move the gasket, and then start installing all the bolts. So I got the all 7 bolts for the water pump torqued down to the manufacturer specification. You want to grab a clean rag and clean all the excess fluid, the antifreeze that dripped down. You want to clean all that off, get it dry. Then you want to get the idler pulley. You want to put some medium strength Loctite on the threads here. Then go ahead, put it on. And then you want to torque it down to the manufacturer specification. Okay, now we get the tensioner pulley here, and then we go ahead and install it. You want to put the tensioner first on the notch here, let it hang on it, and then put the bolt Just run the bolt down, don't tighten it. Okay, now for the belt. We made sure we got the timing set, both the cam and the crank, and then we gotta work from underneath now. So I have the belt down on the crank, from the cam to the water pump, and then the idle. I'll be using my favorite spring tool, which is the long cutter here. When I hold it like this, you want to hook the spring and then you want to pull till okay. So now this side is tight, this side is tight. Now we want to go ahead and tighten the bolts for the tensioner here. Torque it to manufacturer specification. Okay, I go down there again. Go ahead, spin the engine. Make sure it spins freely. Okay, so after spinning the engine a couple times, make sure the timing marks come back the right way. Put the lower cover off like so. Okay, so I get the lower timing cover on. Now you want to go ahead, slide this bracket here. Just slide it here, don't tighten it now. And then we want to go ahead, we want to put the upper cover on. You just slide it around the camshaft. Make sure the seal here is in place. So go ahead, just gently try to slide it in place. Now we put all 10mm bolts for the upper cover here. Now we'll go ahead, put the power steering belts on. I'll use a screwdriver or a pry bar, a long one, to put pressure on it. You just push against the block and the pump till you get tension on the belt. So now I have good tension. You go ahead, tighten the bolt down there. And then we'll go ahead, tighten the top. So we got the power steering belt on and tight. Now we go ahead, put the alternator belt on around the crankshaft and the AC compressor, like so. And then on the alternator, so it's on but loose. Now we go ahead, tighten this 12 here so we put tension on the belt. Check your tension. Need some more. Check your tension again. You want to get it so tight. It's good. Now we go ahead, we tighten the bolt on the side here, which is also 12. Put this piece of the bracket on here like so. Don't tighten these now because you can see you can move it, so we want to get the mount first, so this way is very easy. You get the mount here. Here you go. Line up this hole right here, put the bolts, catch a couple threads. Here you go. Then we want to go ahead, put the bolt on the side here like so. Now we can go ahead and tie in all four, the two for the bracket and the two for the mount. You want to go ahead and make sure your drain plug that we loosened earlier, it's tight. I will be using antifreeze specifically made for Toyota, Lexus and Scion. So go ahead, fill up your antifreeze. Go ahead, squeeze the hoses a little bit. Try to push the air out of the system. See that? Every time I squeeze it, here we go. See, all the air is coming out. Good. Connect the battery pack here. Moment of truth. This engine was dead, it wasn't running, it just keeps cranking. And let's see, guys.